between Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Eta, Theta, Zeta, Kappa, Lu, Phi, Sigma, Upsilon, Tau, y'all ain't talking to me, and last, he is born. But he was born with a price on his head because he was born to die. What unusual and what a peculiar birth it was. It was unusual and peculiar because what other child you know that was born and heaven had named the child before he was born on the earth? What a peculiar and unusual birth. What other child you know that was born and all of the stars stood back, and there was one star that illuminated the heavens to represent the light of lights that's come into the universe. He was a peculiar and unusual birth. Isn't it amazing how God orchestrated behind the scenes, how he would lead Joseph and all of the Benjaminites, all of those who were connected to the lineage of David, down with Bethlehem. He had to get him from Nazareth to Bethlehem, and then he would leave Bethlehem and go back and hide in Egypt, and later on go back to Nazareth, that it would be fulfilled, that he would be called a Nazarene. What a peculiar and unusual birth. When he was born, he was not placed in a hotel, but he was born outside in a stable. If he had been born in a hotel, when he opened his eyes, the first thing he would have saw would have been a ceiling, something that man made. He had to be born outside, so that when he opened his eyes, he saw the creation, something that he and his father made. What a peculiar and unusual birth. He had to be laid in a manger, which was a trough that animals would come and eat and consume their meals. It's only befitting that he would be laid in that manger because he is the Word of God, and God expects humanity to consume him. Oh, taste and see that the Lord, he is good. Peculiar and unusual. Wrapped not in satin or silk, but in a swaddling clothes. Reason why he was wrapped in that swaddling cloth, it was a rag that they would use after they would milk a cow. They would use it to wipe the cow's udders. And therefore, the rag smell of milk is only befitting that you would wrap him in that rag because he was the sincere milk of the Word. But peculiar and unusual at last, he is born. Or just look at him laying there, sleeping in heavenly peace. It was a silent night, for Mary was silent, for she pondered in her heart how God could take a nobody and use her to bring her somebody who would save everybody. Mary was silent. It was a silent night, and then Jesus was sleeping in heavenly peace, surrounded by death, knowing that Herod and his imps were just on the outside of the regions where he was seeking to kill all of the male children, but yet death did not intimidate him because he knew he was going to die on the cross, and he was going to be the one to slew death. He was going to take the stain from death and victory from the grave and the keys from hell. Death didn't intimidate him. He's sleeping in heavenly peace. Born to die. Emmanuel, born to die. Jehovah Tiskanu, Jehovah Shalom. Jehovah Shammah. Born to die. Jehovah Elohim, El Shaddai. The Yahweh, the God of Jehovah. Born to die. And unto us this day, child is born. Son of man, but a son is given. Child born, that's Jesus, his human side. But child, son given, that's the Christ. That's his divine side. He's human, yet divine as Jesus. He said, foxes have holes, birds of the air have nests. I have nowhere to lay my head, but now as Christ, the divine side, he said, in my Father's house are many mansions. And if it were not so, I would have told you. As Jesus, the human side, he said, I have borne the wine press alone. He was all by himself. But now as Christ, he had legions of angels standing on tiptoes of anticipation to come to his rescue, lest one foot dash against the temple. Jesus, he got hungry. Now as Christ, he would say, I am bread of life. Jesus, he would get thirsty. He would ask the woman for a drink of water, but now as Christ, he would tell her, if you knew who I was, you would be asking me for water. I would give you water that would never, never, ever run dry. You would never, ever thirst again. Jesus, he died like a man dropped his head in his shoulders and gave up the ghost and declared, it is finished. Now as Christ rose triumphantly and he raised his hand and used the word that he had never used before, and that word was all. When he opened the blind man's eyes, that was some power. When he walked on water, that was some power. When he fed 5,000, that was some power. When he quelled the raging sea and controlled nature, that was just some power. But when he rose from the grave, he used the word he had never used before. All is in my hand. Born to die. What kind of death did he die? It was an ignominious death. What kind of death did he die? It was a shameful death. He died as a common criminal, hanging between two thieves, thief on the left, a thief on the right. Thief on the right represented the first Adam, because when Adam ate the fruit God told him not to eat, he stole that fruit. God Almighty. So that represented the first Adam on the right side. But then the thief on the left side represented the devil, because you do know he's a thief. He came to steal, kill, y'all ain't talking to me, and destroy. Thief on the right made Jesus happy, while the thief on the left made the devil happy, but Jesus made God happy. Thief on the right died blessed, while the thief on the left died cursing. But Jesus died glorifying his Father.